Who is the most underrated or underused football manager of the last 40 years? Now, it's a shame the way you have to put these videos, blogs, vlogs, whatever the hell they're called out, because you put a title on there. And although I've not got many watching the channel yet, again, because it's not been publicised, people who will know who I'm going to talk about before watching this video. And the reason they'll know it is the guy's name will be at the front end. And again, it has to be, so as people are directed to it and to him. I'd like to have asked that question without you reading the title, without you knowing who it was. And many of you that have read the title won't then watch this because they'll think the guy must be mad, as in me. The ones that do won't agree with it. But I believe, and this is my humble opinion, and it is humble, I believe the most underrated manager of the last 30 or 40 years is without a doubt in my eyes, and as I say, you're not going to agree, but that's fine because this channel is about opinions, would be Martin O'Neill. I wasn't going to bring Martin's name up for a few months again until I had more subscribers because I really wanted to garner what people were thinking and how mad people thought I were. But I've read a piece in yesterday's, I think, Daily Mail. I only read it today. Loved it. Love everything I read about Martin O'Neill. Always have done. Heard him on TalkSport a couple of times in the last couple of months. He's never normally on there, but he did a couple of stints. I got to hear one of them pretty fully. The other one I only heard a bit of. Great value for money. Great pundit. Great everything. Love him when he's on the TV, World Cups and what have you. Great. But Martin O'Neill, for me, is an absolutely brilliant, brilliant manager. And as I say, many will scoff, but I think he's brilliant. And I think he's never been given that one big job that his talent deserves. And I think it's a shame. I've got a list here next to me. What's he done? Wickham, I think he won 7 trophies. Wickham, who were they? Leicester, he won 2 trophies. Celtic, I think 7 trophies and took them to a UEFA Cup final where they got beat, but he got them there. Villa, he took them to 6th place 3 times, 3 seasons on the bounce, which is probably as high as they've been for the last 15, 20 years. Some might say he didn't do as well at Sunderland, don't think he did as well at Norwich, but those 4 clubs, he pulled up trees at all of them. And the thing that I always loved about Martin O'Neill was not just his honesty, which again is what I look for on this site. I'm going to itch my eye again, I'm really sorry, don't know what it is. It wasn't just his honesty, but what I loved about Martin O'Neill is I've read many comments about many of his players. Some of them have since become managers or pundits, often hard men, and they absolutely rave about him. And I mean rave about him. They give stories about how he'd knock them uphill and down dale and knock them over and make them feel so small it's unbelievable. I hear stories about how they'd be going onto the pitch and they'd build them up to make them think they were untouchable. They were like $1 million, even if they were facing better opposition. I read something only in that piece. I think, what did he say? I think he was saying about Robbie Savage. And I think once he said to Robbie Savage, you know the only thing that you're missing in your game, Robbie? No, what's that, boss? Talent. Now, nobody could get away with that now, but they could then. But obviously, all the things he's learned, all the things he's done, have come from the maestro that is Mr. Brian Clough, who, if you've seen the earlier video of mine regarding the greatest manager of all time, for my money, in my eyes, it would be Brian Clough. More so than my team's Alex Ferguson, more so than Paisley or, was it Fagan, the Liverpool boys, more so than anybody. What Clough did over those 2 teams, over that sort of 4 or 5 year period, was absolutely out of this world. He's won the top competitions with 2 unfashionable clubs. Martin O'Neill's won things with even more unfashionable clubs, but done it on 3 or 4 occasions. Martin O'Neill, to me, is brilliant. I've had people say, in fact, let me go back. There was a time, was it 20 odd years ago, when Fergie was first retiring, when he was going to retire, he announced it everywhere and then changed his mind. He fell out with the horse racing boys, the JP McManuses and Magniers and all them over, was it Rock of Gibraltar? He said he was leaving. And the favourite for the job at that time was Martin O'Neill, because he was a friend of Magniers, I think. They were millionaires and they were Irish like him and they knew him well. And the rumours were he was going to get the job. I was absolutely over the moon, because I'd followed him from day dot. I'd read all about him, I'd heard all about him, I'd seen him on the TV and thought, this is a guy that's going to get it done. He was at prime age then, he'd have probably been late 40s, early 50s. I was praying he'd get the job. Ferguson did a U-turn and carried on. Yes, I know what we won with Ferguson after he carried on. Maybe I'm a fool. Many will think I am, and there's not another channel, luckily, because if they were, they'd probably live in drones. But I believe with Martin O'Neill, we could have won the same or more. I really do. A few years later, we heard Martin O'Neill was very close to the Liverpool job. I was gutted. Had he got the job, I believe he'd have got them to the apex quicker than they finally got there with Klopp. I honestly do. I think he's that good. They're a massive club with some great players who were underperforming and who have always had money for transfers. Maybe not the Man United money or the Chelsea and City money of late, but they've always had money. They've always backed the manager. I think he's a fantastic manager. Now, lastly, before I go, I've had many people say, yeah, but he wouldn't have done it. He plays crap football. The football he plays is crap, or it's boring, or it's booted upfield, it's this, it's that. Tactically, he's not good enough. I disagree wholeheartedly. What you've got to do in these lower leagues and with these teams that are lesser teams, you've got to play to your strengths. You've got to play to what you can do. If you've not got great players and great squads, you can't play the Manchester United football, the Liverpool football, the Chelsea football, the Champagne football. You can't play it because you've not got the players capable of doing that. And you've got to fight for absolutely everything. You've got to become scrappers. He has never had a top team, and I think it's oh so sad. I always wished he'd got the England job because I know he once had an interview for that. But in the same way they passed over Clough, they passed over O'Neill. And you can't say they've done a lot since him. Again, I think he'd have done a great job. With great players, I think Martin O'Neill would have done a fantastic job. Sadly, we're never going to know, and I think that's a real shame. I really do. I think many chairmen throughout Great Britain and the powers that be, the FA, I think they've all missed the boat there. I really do. I think Martin O'Neill had so much more to offer and never been given the chance. And I feel so sorry for him. But anyway, Martin O'Neill, you'll never see this, but you've got one fan here, mate. You really have. And I've been a fan for many, many, many years. Good luck to you, sir.